60 seconds. That's all it took for Meghan Markle's carefully manicured public image to start wobbling like a loose hubcap on the PCH. On June 4, 2025, her daughter Lilibet's 4th birthday, the Duchess tapped post on an Instagram reel that showed a throwback baby mama dance. Meghan in workout leggings, Harry behind the phone, the couple giggling while she shimmied her 8 months pregnant belly toward the lens. To her, it was a light-hearted nod to expectant mom nostalgia, maybe even a playful reply to years of tabloid whispers about fake bumps. But the internet doesn't grade on intention, it grades on impact, and this clip landed like a frying pan on fine china. Within an hour hash, baby mama Backlash was trending on ex-influencer reaction videos, labeled it everything from adorably cringy to downright manipulative. Royal commentator Ingrid Seward blasted it as attention-seeking hypocrisy, pointing out that the couple once sued over drone photos of Archie. Yet here they were, handing over intimate maternity footage for likes. The split screen of responses widened fast. Supporters called the dance joyful, real, even empowering. Detractors spotted a soft launch trailer for season 2 of With Love, Meghan thinly disguised as family fun. Meme pages froze the moment Meghan pats her stomach, overlaying captions like, "When your $100 million brand needs fresh content, stat." Comment threads turned poisonous in record time, reviving old conspiracies. Did she actually carry Lily? Was the nursery scene staged? And the clip's view counter kept climbing, fueled by equal parts fandom and fury. Ordinarily, a celebrity rides out a social media squall by going dark for 48 hours, letting the algorithm chase a shinier scandal. Meghan did the opposite. She pinned the reel to her profile, commented back at critics, and told followers in a live Q&A that the video was a love letter to women who own every chapter of motherhood, mess, sweat, and all. Admirable confidence or strategic gasoline? Because the more she defended, the more eyeballs arrived, and sentiment flipped. CrowdTangle data logged a swing from 61% positive engagement to 38% in less than 2 days. By the 72-hour mark, marketing analysts were calling it Markle volatility, a phenomenon where each act of relatability boomerangs into fresh outrage. None of this, however, compared to the tremors rippling through studio boardrooms. Netflix's lifestyle gamble rested on Meghan feeling aspirational, not polarizing, and the backlash was warping that aura by the minute. Yet at this point, the outside world only sensed smoke. The fire, the frantic emails, the midnight Zoom calls, was still raging behind closed doors. But that smoke was about to pour straight through the keyhole, and the scramble inside Netflix HQ would prove far uglier than any meme. The first alarm bell rang at 6:12 a.m. Pacific, when Netflix's West LA social team saw, With Love, Meghan outtrending Bridgerton's wedding clip, a feat usually celebrated with kombucha and confetti emojis. This time the spike carried a scent of blood in the water. By lunchtime, an emergency deck titled Potential Brand Containment, Markle Assets, was on CEO Greg Peters' desk. Page 1 showed that infamous reel, already sitting at 42 million views and a dislike ratio perilously close to Logan Kigahara territory. Page 2 projected the knock-on effect. Season 2 trailer drops in 8 weeks, merchandise deals in 10, contract renewal talks by December. Page 3, circled in red, quoted talent agent chatter that Paramount had quietly paused development on a spin-off documentary about Meghan's Nigerian ancestry, citing reputational risk if sentiment stays underwater. Peters dialed co-CEO Ted Sarandos from the elevator. According to one insider leak, the exchange was curt. Peters pressed for an immediate request that Meghan archive the reel. Sarandos worried the ask would leak and look like corporate gagging. They agreed on a compromise, a friendly tone email urging her to consider timing and strategic rollout. That email never made it past Meghan's comms chief, who responded with 2 words, respectfully declined. 45 minutes later, Meghan went live again, thanking fans for standing beside authentic expression. Inside Netflix, jaws hit desk blotters. Damage control playbooks flew open. First, the content team ordered a re-edit of episode 3, swapping a champagne brunch segment for a mindful motherhood sit-down meant to soften the optics. Estimated price tag, $450,000 in overtime and fresh B-roll. Next, marketing yanked a suite of rooftop billboard buys and rerouted the budget into digital ads that could pivot messaging in real time. Then came legal, flagging potential FTC headaches if Season 2 now looked materially different from the product pitched last year. In 3 frantic hours, the projected cost overrun ballooned past $4 million and counting, small change for a sci-fi blockbuster. but eye-watering for a lifestyle series built on candles and crockery. Meanwhile, the With Love crew back in Montecito sensed the shift in vibe. Camera operators who once received handwritten thank you notes found call sheets slashed, pickup days jammed into double shifts. Editors were told to hunt for raw vulnerability, industry code for tears or trauma, anything that could reframe Meghan as the heroine of her own stumble. Sound bites of her laughing about kitchen mishaps were suddenly less valuable than moments where her voice cracked discussing postpartum nerves. A veteran producer whispered to Variety that the show was mid-surgery on the table, and the patient's still awake. Late that night, a Slack message pinged across the studio's execops channel. "We're tracking for record watch time, but it's hate watch time." Data confirmed it. Viewers weren't bailing early. They were doom scrolling, savoring every awkward beat. Some executives cheered. The algorithm counts minutes, not mood, but the brand team typed a single sentence in reply. "Hate watchers don't buy candles." The tension between engagement and reputation had never felt sharper. And while Netflix wrestled with its own schizophrenic metrics, Meghan prepared her next move, a fiery podcast monologue that would point a trembling finger not at tabloids, but at her very own fanbase. What she said in that 30-minute rant would flip the narrative yet again, and send even her most loyal supporters sprinting for the exit. Money never panics, people do. And in the 48 hours after Meghan doubled down on her viral reel, the phones of Hollywood's deal makers rang like a 5-alarm fire. First to bolt was Paramount. The studio had quietly optioned a one-off documentary tracing Meghan's newly discovered Nigerian ancestry, a friendly, low-stakes companion to With Love, Meghan. But when the baby mama backlash spiked, Paramount's brand risk software spat out a red warning flag. Within a day, the new CEO pressed delete. Staff learned the project was dead via terse Slack ping. Heritage Doc pulled for review. Gossip sites grabbed the scent, and by nightfall Facebook feeds were ablaze with headlines like "Paramount CEO SCRAPS Meghan's documentary after one clip" and "Scandal in Sussex, Heritage Film nixed." That sudden retreat spooked WME, Meghan's powerhouse talent agency. Page 6 splashed an exclusive, Hollywood buzzing that WME dropped Meghan. A counterstatement arrived hours later. "She's still a client, rumors exaggerated." Yet the damage was done. Reporters repeated dropped more than denied, and TikTok analysts coined a new metric, Markle volatility, for how fast sentiment whiplashes from sponsor-friendly to reputational hazard. Even Netflix's allies felt the tremor. An OK Magazine finance roundup noted that streaming forecasters were baking a brand risk discount into any Sussex-adjacent projections now that the $100 million contract renewal looms in December. Meanwhile, leaked spreadsheets showed With Love S2's last-minute reshoots had already overshot budget by $4 million. Every added candlestick and B-roll drone shot logged under the ominous code, CYA edits. But the real sign that Hollywood was clearing the aisles came from the guest list hemorrhage. Dolly Parton politely passed on a cameo, Peloton's Cody Rigsby ghosted production emails, even Mindy Kaling joked on a podcast, "I'm busy that day, even if that day's in 2030. Nothing petrifies executives like talent walking away unprovoked. And while the Duchess's camp insisted these were simple scheduling conflicts, insiders whispered the same two words, brand contagion. Yet Hollywood hadn't seen anything until Meghan herself seized the mic and turned it on the very audience she was fighting to keep. When a public figure says they don't understand her, in the third person, listeners brace for impact. Meghan's impact came via a 30-minute bonus episode of her Confessions of a Female Founder podcast, recorded the morning Netflix begged her to archive the pregnancy reel. She did the opposite, hit publish. Opening line, "If Meghan chose silence, the world would write her story. Meghan refuses." From there, she accused posers of deserting her, claimed only fair-weather feminists demanded accountability, and repeated a mantra, "A lie can't live forever." Comment sections ignited. Viewers clipped the monologue into TikTok stitches titled "Meghan vs. Meghan." Newsweek tallied over 12 million hashtag views in 24 hours, most branding the speech performative self-pity. The strongest blow, however, came from longtime sympathizers. Culture writer Maureen Callahan called the rant emotional waterboarding, while comedian Katherine Ryan tweeted, "Stop trying to gaslight your own fan club." Metrics painted the fallout in brutal color. CrowdTangle charts showed Meghan's average positive sentiment score sliding another 15 points that week, while her podcast subscribers plateaued for the first time since launch. Industry bookers reacted instantly. 3 high-profile guests quietly pulled future appearances. Spotify execs, burned by 2023's aborted Archetypes deal, snarked that Lemonada Media had bought a live grenade. Still, instead of pausing, Meghan went harder. She surfaced on Aspire with Emma Grede, lamenting how people want the jam, not the journey, and confessed she felt incredibly lonely building her as ever brand, comments many read as a swipe at fans who'd balked at $28 jars of strawberry lavender spread. Then came the clincher, signed notes to critics. One influencer who'd said she was scared for Meghan received a handwritten card ending, "Real queens fix each other's crowns." Roman 20M, page 6 printed it verbatim, calling the gesture a clapback disguised as kindness. By week's end, the narrative had flipped once more. The Duchess claimed vindication. People are still watching, aren't they? While studio strategists stared at dashboards glowing red. Hate watchers drive minutes, yes, but hate watchers don't convert to candle sales, cookbook pre-orders, or renewal-saving merch. And the cruelest metric of all, subscriber churn already ticking upward in territories where With Love premiered. So the question grew louder in every boardroom. If Meghan keeps talking about Meghan in the third person, who's left to tell the story audiences actually want to hear? If the pregnancy reel fiasco dinged Meghan's image, the plagiarism whispers threatened to total it. The first shot came from celebrity blogger Perez Hilton, who stitched clips of With Love, Meghan's Season 2 B-roll alongside scenes from Pamela Anderson's 2005 Food Network pilot Cooking with Love. Same overhead lemon zest close-up, same family first sign-off, even the goofy high-five to camera. Within hours, Yahoo Entertainment packaged the comparison under the headline, "Meghan Markle accused of copying Pamela Anderson's food show. She even copies the high five." Then the pylon began. Tabloid columnist Hugo Vickers noted that everything about Meghan's empire, her as ever jam jars, her signature rosé, even the soft pink logo, looked eerily similar to lines launched years earlier by A-listers like Brad Pitt, Kylie Minogue, and yes, Gwyneth Paltrow. "She's playing Pinterest bingo," Vickers quipped in The Sun, adding that if she didn't start generating original IP, legal headaches are inevitable. Netflix could ignore gossip blog shade. A potential copyright fight was another matter. According to two insiders who spoke to C-Suite Weekly, the streamer hired an outside consultancy to run a duplication audit across all 10 rough-cut episodes. Early findings flagged nearly 40% of recipes and set pieces as close derivatives of existing TV formats, enough for lawyers to threaten a delay if fixes weren't made fast. Fan sleuths did their own digging. A Reddit thread titled 17 Copy-Paste Recipes in With Love S2 lined up screenshots of Rachel Ray's 2012 No-Knead Buttermilk Biscuits. Next to Meghan, Zero Stress Country Biscuits, identical down to the sage garnish. The post racked up 3,000 upvotes in a day, and soon TikTok foodies were filming taste tests to prove whose version was better. Meghan's camp dismissed the uproar as parallel inspiration, but the optics kept souring. A lawyer for a tiny New York fashion label called as ever fired off a cease and desist over trademark confusion, and Spanish town councilors in Almeria claimed her sun logo mirrored their tourism crest. Each new headline lengthened what insiders now called the receipt roll, a growing list of alleged borrowings that threatened to swamp any genuine creativity. Yet even as legal teams stitched red tape across the edit suites, Netflix ordered a drastic creative pivot, one that would swap glossy kitchen glamour for something far riskier. Picture the early cuts of With Love, Meghan, marble countertops, florist fresh peonies, and a Duchess who never spills sauce. Now picture the version test-screened 3 weeks later, Meghan in flat sandals, seated under an oak tree with 6 guests in a circle of mismatched cushions, confessing insecurities about post-royal purpose while sipping turmeric lattes. That tonal whiplash wasn't an artistic whim. It was Netflix damage control. Leaked call sheets reveal how brutal the makeover was. Segments labeled Champagne Tablescape were replaced with grounding breathwork. A whipped cream demo became a value-mapping exercise. One crew member told Girl Culture that producers ordered them to find the tears and shoot at golden hour so the vulnerability looks cinematic. Behind the scenes, editors slashed running gags about luxury linens and inserted DEI talking points on imposter syndrome and cultural heritage. The goal, according to an internal memo leaked to YouTube commentator Braxton Foster, was to pivot from aspirational consumption to communal healing. Reshoot costs ballooned. Freelance therapists and mindfulness coaches were suddenly on payroll. Industry newsletter C21 Media estimated the price tag of the format flip at north of $4 million. Critics weren't buying the metamorphosis. Vulture described the new trailer as gauzy soul-searching glued onto a Pottery Barn catalog, concluding that Meghan had invented group therapy chic. Meanwhile, People magazine tried a softer angle, highlighting an unseen Season 1 outtake, Meghan frosting a carrot cake with Archie that proved her relatability. Commenters countered, "Amazing what makes the cut after a backlash." Metrics told the harsher truth. Google Trends showed searches for "with love," Meghan down 43% since March. A Netflix survey leaked to Seen and Unseen found that only 22% of viewers described the new footage as genuine, while 55% called it image rehab. One executive summed it up in Slack: "We traded polished perfection for kombucha catharsis and somehow lost both." Worse, the pivot sharpened an old critique that every move Meghan makes feels like brand management in real time. A Puck deep dive framed it as a cautionary tale of a modern lifestyle brand suffocating under the algorithm's demand for authenticity on cue, which leaves the Duchess at the strangest crossroads yet. The candles no longer sell the dream, and the confessionals haven't earned forgiveness. The next episode promises a radical reset, but after plagiarism claims and a personality transplant, what does Meghan have left to reset? There's a moment every modern public figure dreads. The split second when the algorithm stops treating you like a person and starts treating you like content. Meghan just hit that wall. TikTok's For You page, once a garden of adoring edits set to Florence plus the machine, now recommends duet after duet of body language experts pausing her smiles at 0.25 times speed. YouTube critics splice her grounding breathwork into comedy soundboards. Instagram meme accounts overlay stock crickets whenever she says vulnerability. The machines have decided that Markle drama outperforms Markle inspiration, and they're feeding the frenzy. The irony? Meghan helped teach the algorithm what authentic should look like: filtered daylight, handwritten gratitude cards, tidy moral arcs. But she can't outpace the version of herself it cloned. Every new post is sucked into a sorting hat that labels her either manipulative or messianic, with no middle ground. Audiences sense the tension. Watch time climbs while trust plummets. Brands flinch at the cost of partnering with a lightning rod, yet the platforms keep her front and center because friction glues eyeballs to screens. It's the influencer Ouroboros. The more she insists she's genuine, the more the feed serves up videos exposing why she is. And that leaves Meghan at a crossroads that no royal title or Netflix budget can paper over. Hollywood loves a comeback, but it demands a plot twist first. Inside Netflix, 3 scenarios sit on a war room whiteboard. 1. The Me Culpa arc, a raw sit-down doc where Meghan owns every misfire, from the pregnancy reel to the plagiarism rumors, then hands narrative control to an outside journalist. Risky, but viewers forgive quicker when they see real contrition. 2. The behind-the-camera pivot. She leans on her actual production chops, steps off-screen, and champions overlooked stories. Think rising female directors or post-Brexit immigrant entrepreneurs. Distance plus purpose could refresh the brand. 3. The double-down gambit. Ignore the noise, flood the zone with more With Love seasons, more as ever products, more podcast monologues. High volume, high heat, betting that outrage fatigue will eventually cool. Insiders say Netflix favors door 1, Meghan's inner circle prefers door 3. Paramount's abrupt pullout proved how fast corporate patience evaporates. Disney's shadow interest in an animated children's series shows the door isn't fully shut if she can steady the ship. Meanwhile, audience polls hint at a fragile middle lane. 60% say they'd give her another chance if she drops the victim vocabulary and shows clear growth. But every day she delays that decision, the story metastasizes. More think pieces, more reaction channels, more sponsors dialing back budgets. Momentum, once her greatest ally, is now the undertow dragging her further from steady ground. It started with a 1-minute clip meant to feel like family fun. It spiraled into canceled deals, algorithmic dogpiles, and a lifestyle empire perched on a fault line of public skepticism. Along the way, Meghan discovered the cost of modern visibility. Authenticity sells until audiences suspect it's staged. Vulnerability inspires until it feels weaponized. Brand polish dazzles until a single tone-deaf post cracks the glaze. So the question hanging over every studio boardroom and every browser tab remains blunt. Is the problem Meghan's audience or Meghan's mirror? If she can look straight into that reflection and own what she sees, a renaissance is still possible. If not, the Duchess who once redefined celebrity relatability may become its most cautionary tale. A real-time reminder that, in 2025, the internet doesn't cancel you for being imperfect. It cancels you for acting like you are. Cue the end screen. The algorithm awaits your next click.